The irksome message that keeps popping on your smart screen every time you open up WhatsApp is deceptively simple, beguiling almost 3 billion of its users into consenting to its suspectful data privacy mandate. Now, WhatsApp's new privacy terms give it the right to share user data, including location, phone number, contact list, and usage pattern with the Facebook, which is its parent company, and its units such as Instagram and Messenger. Now, the move is being questioned by privacy advocates, entrepreneurs such as Tesla founder Elon Musk, as well as government agencies across the world, citing Facebook's poor track record of handling user data. Now, the central government on its part has gone ahead and decided to examine the new data sharing mandate that has been put up by WhatsApp for its user to agree by February 8th in view of the potential privacy violations that WhatsApp may have committed. Now, add to that the lack of a fully formalized data protection law in our country at this point of time creates a regulatory vacuum, giving leeway to the world's largest messaging app to indulge in data piracy. Let's open up this discussion. It has been going on for days and weeks together ever since this new message that has popped up on your screens, on my screens, on screens of those 3 billion users of WhatsApp, and which has also led to mass transfers from this very popular messaging app to its competitors, the likes of Telegram and Signal. In fact, before I go to the debate, let me open up this screen and let's take this iPad on the screen and the image that actually appears. I'll just take you, my audiences, through this exact message, and then I'll go to my experts who are joining me on the broadcast to understand what exactly is this message going to entail come February 8th, when people are obliged to go ahead and accept every single of those norms and guidelines that have been issued by WhatsApp. The message is something like this: WhatsApp is updating its terms and privacy policy. The key updates include more information about WhatsApp's service and how we process your data, how businesses can use Facebook hosted services to store and manage their WhatsApp chats, and how we partner with Facebook to offer integrations across the Facebook company products. Now, by tapping agree, you accept the new terms and privacy policy, which takes effect on February 8th, 2021. And after this date, you will need to accept these updates. You will, in fact, I'm going to repeat it. After February 8th, 2021, you will need to accept these updates to continue using WhatsApp. You can also visit the help center if you would prefer to delete your account and you would like more information. So, a very clear mandate put up by WhatsApp. You can either go ahead and agree to accept every single one of those very suspectful terms and conditions put forth by WhatsApp, or you can decide to delete your account altogether from the messaging app. Joining me on the broadcast, Ajay Datta, the technicalities, first of all, of this message that has been put forth, the new mandate. How does it affect the WhatsApp users across the world?
Of course, I think you have already hit the nail. This is a policy which is not an option. It is a forced upon policy. And I have to agree to that term if I want to continue using WhatsApp in that fashion. There is no option that I can not agree and still continue using WhatsApp after February 8th. And in fact, if you will see, WhatsApp seemed to be okay to delete your account if you are interested in and contact the help center. That's also very clear because they were very, very keen to move in that direction and force every individual user using WhatsApp to agree on that term, except barring some countries, especially Europe, which is not all in that category.
Okay, all right, absolutely. You've surmised that entire piece of mandate, the new mandate that has been brought about. Vimal Waklu joins me on the broadcast as well, former chairman, Telecommunications Consultants India Limited. You know, keeping in mind that the government has only now dived into this entire ruckus that has been growing across the world with entrepreneurs, government agencies across the world, a number of tech experts, advocates going ahead and speaking against this very forceful strategy to utilize the data of those 3 billion users across the world without their consent. how do we go ahead and fight this menace at this point of time, even as the central government and the IT ministry especially is going ahead and monitoring it very closely at this point of time? We do not at this point of time have a strong formative regulatory authority to take note.
Well, first of all, I would like to mention that what WhatsApp is asking us to do now, or Facebook is already doing that.
Yeah, okay.
For example, all our data is public. That's how we get all those advertisements on the Facebook. Yes, WhatsApp has absolutely made it clear that they are not going to share any private messages. So that way, all the content that is shared on these chats or through these chats, etc., they would be completely secure. But the policy, of course, every organization has to have a revenue model, and this has been Facebook's revenue model right from the beginning. Now, the thing is, whether we accept it or not, there are a lot of people who have already shifted to other platforms like Telegram and Signal, and that's what has alerted WhatsApp to take action. In India too, people, particularly government, has been seized of this matter. And last year, there was a personal data protection bill, which was introduced in the parliament in 2019. Of course, it was finally referred to a select committee with a JPC, and the JPC is still deliberating on this. So it might take a while for that. But the amount of penalties that have been put there is to the tune of 15 crores, which will be quite some amount of money for the companies as well. So they'll be careful in sharing our private data. But the issue is that majority of the people who use Facebook also use, WhatsApp. I don't know what implication it really will have on them. Because in any case, everything is being shared there.
Okay, all right. That's your viewpoint over there, going ahead and saying when hefty fines have been imposed, the probability of going ahead and sharing your personal data is going to be minimal. But is 15 crore really that big an amount for a conglomerate the like of WhatsApp that has the data of 3 billion users? That is what, billions and billions of dollars.
If I complain against WhatsApp and say tomorrow that my data has been misused, I as an individual can get 15 crores.
Okay, all right. So that's a point that has been made. Ravi Vishweshwara Sharda Prasad, who's the telecom and information technology consultant, is also joining me on the broadcast. Ravi, do you think this is an opportunity in disguise for our local players to go ahead and jump into the bandwagon and come out victorious against WhatsApp? You'll have to unmute yourself, Ravi. Ravi, you'll have to unmute yourself. You're still muted and we are not able to hear you.
Yeah, what WhatsApp and Facebook are saying is that the integration is mainly for Facebook business pages which are using WhatsApp business to communicate with their customers, and the messages that are being used by WhatsApp users to communicate with Facebook advertisers who are being hosted on Facebook servers and are using Facebook pages. For instance, on Facebook pages, you now get a button which says click to share your WhatsApp number. And that is what is being used. And in fact, some of the fine print in the user agreement is very puzzling, because at some places Facebook says, WhatsApp says they won't share the user messages, but at other places they say that they can use this message for suggesting people whom you may know your groups, etc. For instance, even on WhatsApp, WhatsApp collects your location, and there is WhatsApp Pay has been launched in India. Facebook Pay is a service, and they have full access to your transaction history. So certainly people are moving away to other platforms and messaging, end-to-end encrypted messaging services such as Telegram and Signal. But again, there are what are called the network effects, because the utility of a network increases exponentially as
but
the number
do you
of
think,
users
this
are
is
there.
also again an opportunity
And,
for Indian players, the Indian telecom market, Indian social media messaging market, to utilize this opportunity, because there is going to be a diversion, that is a mass diversion that is going to happen from WhatsApp to, it's already happening with Signal and Telegram coming into the limelight.
Yeah, and there are several other apps which are even more secure, but they're not as usable. For instance, there's Wickr, there's Session, there's Threema. There are several of these apps, but again, the problem is they have a very small user base, and they really are used only for very specialized applications by, let's say, people who are in government officials or defense officials or diplomats. For instance, in Session, doesn't even use your telephone number, which Signal requires your phone number to sign up. Session doesn't have any data about you. But then, on the other hand, you need to have know the person's QR code in order to connect with him. Now, I can't use Session easily because nobody I know is on Session. So there are these network
And that's
effects
why
that
there needs to be
I'm required
propaganda,
to use
there
WhatsApp
needs to
because
be awareness
all my
that needs to be
contacts
created,
are
and
WhatsApp.
especially for the homegrown brands, because that is the advantage for India. It is going to be the Atmanirbhar mission that is going to be followed, and if the entire world goes ahead and follows India's lead and goes on those Indian homegrown brands and utilizes them as an alternative with their encrypted messages remaining that way and no violation of privacy taking place, then so be it. Yamini Agarwal, I'm going to pose the same question to you. How big an opportunity is at this point of time for Indian players to jump into the market? I remember when yet another of such apps, TikTok, had been banned. Not just in India, but in United States, in United Kingdom and other parts of the world as well. There were homegrown brands, the likes of Chingari, that had taken the forefront. They were, in fact, they continued to gain a lot of masses going ahead and users going ahead and utilizing the app, and popularity has also, bringing popularity and then monetary effect also going ahead and being witnessed. A similar case could be witnessed for players in this telecom / social media / messaging market?
Well, if you see, there are certain apps which are already in existence in the regional languages, which have found a space in the business or the otherwise sector for developing themselves. But they have not become very popular as WhatsApp, primarily because of the network effect. Also because the manner in which the servicing is actually done in terms of the messages being sent or any other particular information being sent is much more found useful on WhatsApp. If people find it more useful to go to other apps and get connected through it, then there would be a greater success. The very fact that WhatsApp has come up with a statement saying that none of the private messages nor the payment information would be transferred to Facebook, nor would any information or your contacts be transferred to Facebook, does make people feel a little more secure in terms of using WhatsApp.
Okay, does
also,
it really? But does it really? Does it really?
Use WhatsApp not for very specific information, but to just connect to friends, which gives it the requisite network or the strength to continue. But yes, it does give opportunities to not only the existing providers like WhatsApp and others to pitch in their right set of claims right now, or
and yes, take that chunk of the market, because it's available at this point of time. Opportunity has struck. You go ahead and take advantage of it. Ajay Datta, before I go to Ravi, Ajay, I want to understand from you at this point of time, is it really, Yamini went ahead and said that the users are in fact feeling secure with regards to the privacy norms that have now been spelled out exponentially by WhatsApp, because all these noises were created. And I have seen myself, and I'm checking out newspapers, there are these front page, full page ads costing crores and crores of rupees that have been spread in every single newspaper, every single publication that you're going ahead and reading early in the morning with your cup of tea or coffee. Is it really a secure platform at this point of time, or is it a damage control exercise by WhatsApp?
Absolutely, it's a damage control exercise. I very simply say, Europe gets the policy, we get the advertisements. Nothing else. Advertisements are what? They are telling us that we will do what, we will not do this, we will do this after force. If you are not interested in our privacy, then why the hell you force it to me and I just share? You just give the option to the people that you want it, you don't want it, then you are legitimate. When you force people that whatever information, whether it is relevant for me or not relevant, you are not the judge for that. I want something to be shared or not, you are not the judge for that. You are providing a platform. If you are forcing me to do something, to share something with somebody else, which I am not interested in, then obviously you are forcing me to agree on something which I am not keen.
Yeah.
Facebook is a very different example. Let me share with you. In Facebook, you go and share with the Facebook for public. It is not the right example. When we go and share with the on the Facebook, it is my intent to share with my friends and colleagues and make it open. In WhatsApp, that is not. In WhatsApp, it is completely private and it is not subject to be shared by anybody else. For example, a few days later, the search becomes available on Google. Who guarantees that? It's not harming, but it is public. So the idea is there can be many ramifications for it, and there could be many issues which are being coming. And very clear fact is, if they are legitimate, then give me an option. If user is getting benefited, if user is not getting benefited, then what is the point of forcing this category for the benefit of your commercial use and then putting everybody on this cage?
Right.
And to at the end, the WhatsApp is not at all right now trustable for sure. You can see Signal tweets today from 10 million to 50 million.
So that's as apparent as it can get, and how insecure the users are at this point of time with regards to their data being misused.
Much more
WhatsApp.
better if they could have come before to make people and build some trust around this. Why does need? Not right now. It's a useless exercise.
Okay, Ravi, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, see, WhatsApp is being used by many Indian government organizations, local government organizations, state governments to interact with the public at large. And a lot of these data will now be in a very questionable area.
Absolutely.
And for instance, Facebook and WhatsApp know which groups a person has joined. Even if they can't see what messages you sent in the groups, they know what groups you have joined and the description of those groups. Also, WhatsApp attachments and files can be traced. So WhatsApp will be able to know what are the attachments you have received and forwarded, because they put an identifier on the attachments and media files. So certainly there is much less privacy than what WhatsApp has been talking about. Facebook will get access to your telephone number, and you have to remember that for Facebook, telephone numbers are a very big source of revenue because they can push advertisements to your phones.
Yeah.
So since 2014, Facebook has one of the major reasons Facebook acquired WhatsApp was to access the telephone numbers of people. Secondly, your metadata is always known to WhatsApp and Facebook. That is whom you're communicating with and for how long, and your IP addresses, the details of your phone are all known to both WhatsApp and Facebook.
Okay.
So it really, because the citizenry in India has started using WhatsApp to interact with government organizations, and these could be termed in the new WhatsApp policy as businesses.
Yeah, and that is a threat. That is a very palpable threat with regards to data privacy issues that the government agencies are across the bandwidth, across the world, are going ahead and raising this point. And another point, since you mentioned about the government important documents, classified documents, and their propensity to get leaked at this point of time becomes manifold high, is a point of contention. And remember, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter have had a really bad run with government agencies in India, in United States, in United Kingdom, every part of the world. I remember the Cambridge Analytica case that had taken place. Again, there was, you know, a lot of money that was involved, allegations that have been put forth with regards to fudging data, with regards to spreading propaganda for winning of elections that had taken place in India, not just in India, in the United States as well. And there have been time and again at the US Senate Congress, these Facebook giant owners, founders, the Twitter giant owner, founder, they are brought about there, sat down on the chairs, grilled for hours together with regards to the indemnity clause they continue to put on their policy terms, where they go ahead and say that, listen, whatever information is put forth by a user on our platform is something that is aligning to them and does not qualify as something that we are going ahead and aligning themselves to. But that's a miscommunication issue that had also cropped up. And with regards to that, Vimal Waklu,
yeah,
your comment especially. Important point made by Ravi with important point raised by Ravi and qualifying with the Cambridge Analytica case that has happened. Election rigging that has happened in the United States as well, and allegations putting. Yes. I mean, so how do we resolve this?
Such platforms are also double-edged sword. I mean, if there is no information, there has to be some degree of transparency for some organization, maybe the governments, because otherwise we have seen how even the terrorists operate and carry out their projects very successfully on these platforms. So it's a double-edged sword. We can't say that complete privacy is the only way out. I mean, the governments are also faced with challenges. That's one part. Second, there was a mention about Raviji that governments are using WhatsApp platform, particularly the government of India, for interacting with the citizens and all that. I think government has no business to use a free platform for such applications. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it looks ridiculous if a government comes up with its own platform, which somebody has developed and they have paid for it, and interact with the citizens. It makes some sense. A foreign platform which is meant for something else, if it's used by governments, I think that's a disgrace. I mean, it's not the right approach.
Okay.
I know that some government organizations are using it, but it's not the right approach. Okay. And then we blame WhatsApp by now you are compromising on our security. Maybe it's a trap also from that side. Okay. You can't trust any
Yamini, do you agree with the
outside our borders?
Do you agree with Vimal's point of view over here?
Yeah, if you ever uninstall your WhatsApp and reinstall your WhatsApp, you can have an option of having the backup, which clearly means that the WhatsApp has information about you and your private messages.
Of course, it does, yes.
Similarly, you had seen, when the Sushant Rajput's case was going on, the WhatsApp messages which were shared by Riya to some other people were taken by the narcotics department to investigate into matters. So, the information is there with WhatsApp. What it is saying is it is not going to be sharing it with Facebook. It is also saying, according to the statement which is there, that the particular requisite contacts would not be shared. As far as Facebook is concerned, friend suggestions or let's say any sponsored messages are based upon what you have been searching and what you have been looking. The AI component, which actually affects your privacy through cookies or through other things, are there in all e-commerce platforms. So you actually decide or choose what you want to share on these platforms and participate in it. When WhatsApp makes a particular term and procedure clear, and and says you are wanting to accept it, you have a choice to accept it or uninstall the WhatsApp, because it's a free service and it's not going to stay on your phone. Similarly, all applications which we today download on our e-commerce platforms or do it, they have a terms and conditions which are so small written in shape, which take away a lot of things, and a lot of times they access our microphones and even private information.
Exactly.
Where the security of the law should guarantee that the privacy of an individual remains intact, accountable by these apps, even when somebody accepts a particular term which is there, which may be so fine lined that some
that you wouldn't even bother to read it because it's so huge. Because I have done that. You must have all done it at some point of time. You're going ahead and downloading an app. The agreement is perhaps some 15-page long. You just go ahead. Why bother with reading the whole thing? Just accept it and go on with your lives. Ajay Datta, another point that has been made importantly over here with regards to Facebook going ahead and utilizing, and I have this point that every single time, maybe if I'm Googling something or if I'm buying something on an e-commerce site, the very next thing I would go ahead and witness is on a Facebook or on my Twitter accounts or my Instagram accounts, there are these ads that are related to that particular product or service that have gone ahead and utilized or purchased. What do you speak about that? Is that data obviously being, at this point of time, being violated by all these agencies for their own vested interests?
See, this is a long technical discussion. If you are using a Chrome, which is from Google, you are making a search on Google platform, then of course Google knows what you are searching, and then via Google Ads, you get the content which is required to you. That's you have given to that company and you are getting it there. That's a commercial benefit. Google uses it, and we have to also accept when the services are free, you are the product. So ultimately, that is the revenue generation on which these companies thrive on. That's okay. That's okay as long as you are using that data. So if you know my profile, you know my name, you know my age, that's okay if you are using it for the company, but sharing it with somebody else for different purpose. So for example, let us say you got a medical report on WhatsApp, and do you want a doctor or a path lab to call you that we can do a cheaper test for you?
Yeah.
That's where the privacy comes into picture.
And that's where the line needs to be drawn. Yes, absolutely.
So some female went to got a test, and there is a disease or pregnancy or whatever the issue is, and you see somebody is approaching you for that particular moment. Yep. That is where the privacy comes into picture. Yep. I think we have to be very careful when we are discussing these things. There are very fine lines into it, and of course WhatsApp is worried about that you and me will leave WhatsApp. I have left it, and a lot of people will leave it, and that's the reason the ads are. It is not as simple that if you don't agree, you leave it. WhatsApp is not happy with that scenario. WhatsApp wants us to agree and be there. That's the scenario WhatsApp wants us.
Absolutely, bang on point over there. I thank all my guests for joining me on this special discussion with regards to the row that has erupted because of the new Facebook WhatsApp guidelines that have been brought about. We will discuss this subsequently in the coming days as well, as and when things develop, since the central government, especially the IT ministry, is looking at it with a hawk eye to ensure proper monitoring takes place and data privacy is not violated by this tech giant.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.